telling Amira's story. I met Amira last month and this is her story in her own words. When I look back at what happened to me, it's hard to believe that this was me, that this was my life. It all seems so unbelievable now. In my culture, arranged marriage happens a lot. My sister was promised to a school teacher from the UK. Ahmed was 23 years old. He flew over to India with his father. His father decided that Ahmed shouldn't marry my sister, who was the same age as him, but should marry me. I was 13. My mother wasn't happy at all, but my parents were persuaded. I was married near my home and then went over to the UK. My father-in-law obtained a fake passport telling a fake age. It was like my whole world had disappeared when I came to England. Everything was so different, and everything familiar to me had disappeared. The whole family were controlling me. I lived with my father-in-law, his mother, and my husband, Ahmed. The whole family treated me like a servant, and I was beaten and controlled. I no longer had any choices about what I wore, what I ate. I could only wear traditional clothes that were chosen for me. I was discouraged from making friends, and I was told that it was dangerous outside, so I never went out by myself. My husband taught me English so I could pass my life in the UK test. I was such a child, I was so innocent. I had had no sexual education in India, so my husband made me watch porn with him to understand about sex. I didn't know about intimacy, all I knew about was degrading. My husband never showed me love or affection. He never bought me a birthday present or made me feel appreciated. I felt so alone. I had my beautiful son Majid when I was 17. He was the light of my life. I wanted a different life for Majid. I didn't want my son to be like them, and I wanted him to be kind and caring. But the family encouraged Majid to treat me like a servant too. They taught him to pull my hair and not listen to me. I knew things had to change, and I was so tired of being controlled. One day I was Skyping my father, and he saw my husband beating me, so he sent relatives to come and get me. When they came, my husband left with my son. I'd never spent a moment away from my 2-year-old, and I couldn't imagine how he'd be feeling. I was so worried about him. Despite the police advising me to leave, they didn't advise me about parental responsibility. I had to go to court to get my son back, even though my husband was considered a paedophile and violent. I had to employ lawyers privately, as accessing legal aid would have taken months. I went to a women's refuge where they helped me. I had £50 a week in the refuge. We had no clothes, not even a coat for my son. We had to pay service charges and have money for laundry. I had no buggy, so it was difficult to go shopping. He caught a chill one day when we were out shopping as he had no coat, and I felt so sad that I couldn't provide for my son. I had never been to that part of London before, and I didn't know where anything was. I wasn't entitled to benefits as I was illegal. I went through a very long court case at Crown Court with my ex-husband, who claimed to be unaware that I was so young. He now no longer teaches and cannot see our son. I left the hostel and was moved to another part of London. Then I went up to the northwest. I was welcomed by community in my current home. I used to go to church groups and learn to crochet with some older ladies. People were very kind, but with no documents I couldn't access benefits and I couldn't work. Eventually, people from community groups and the church helped me. I had some charity donations and could access some benefits. However, when my son was 5, my income changed to JSA. I received £80 a week in benefits. My rent is £100 a week. So it is hard to keep my home and provide for my son, which means I'm not able to pay my rent. Being in poverty makes me feel ashamed. When I had to go to food bank, I came home and broke down in tears. Having to get a food bank parcel made me feel like a failure. I volunteered and still do volunteer. I'm 23 and can speak 2 languages, and I'm a hard worker, but I wish there was more support to find jobs. I go to an English class once a week and a maths class once a week. I've applied to every supermarket in the area and every care home. I wish there was more support to find work. If you do not have a computer, it's even harder. Often Often I spend ages submitting applications. It takes so long to apply and I've never been successful, and then you're told not to apply again for another 3 months. All I want is to work, to provide for and be a good role model for my son. On a positive note, I'm going to see my family in India. I left there a child and I'm coming back a mother. I've not seen my mother in 10 years. I've missed her so much. I cannot wait for my son to meet my family for the first time. I really feel excited for this next chapter in my life.
Hi, my name's Carla, and I wrote this when I was in a safe house. I had no food and no toys for my children. Today I feel so miserable, so silent inside. I just want to run from the world and hide. My heart, like the Titanic, is about to subside, and by the end of the day, guaranteed I'll have cried. You all think I'm happy, feeling strong. I lied. Another piece of my heart just died. To let anyone in again, it's access denied. Sorry, I just need to hang on. It's that last little bit of pride. Oh, and that I have to abide. Otherwise, I'll end up fried and then chucked out into the tide. At this moment, I don't care about my guide, as my guide won't hack my version of a scary ride. I don't have organised, I have confusing strides, yet that alone will stop me being a bride. My heart will always be open wide. Come on, let's end it, give me a cup of peroxide. Honestly, what's the point in anything? I forgot what it's like to have a genuine grin. I'm just the one that was saved when beyond repair, never the same, should have been chucked in the bin. My mum wanted me, she was my next of kin. I say, come on, pray for forgiveness, you committed a sin. You should have buried me in a small-sized coffin tin. Got yourself drunk on a bottle of gin. To be accepted for me would just be a win. I've been punished to earth to be the emotional slave. I must have been bad in my last life, punished to this and an early grave. Whoever is persistent with me must be brave. I'd be happy to start again in a new life, I'd give a wave. As I've been punished enough, I've learned my lesson, I've had it rough. And my soul is weak, no longer tough. Come on, pick on someone else now, I've had enough. My creator replies, that's your tough luck. Turn to a new page and start a new book. As what's written so far, no one gives a fuck.
This short poem was written by another community inspirer who can't be here today and has asked me to read it on her behalf. So this is Mandy's poem. Feeding myself with a bag of sugar, looking for food, there was no other. The hole in my stomach is an ache in the pit. I have no money, I can't help it. I'm rummaging through bins for butties, burgers and rusty tins. There's nothing to keep me from poverty now. I feel a dirty, helpless cow. A few weeks ago, a conversation took place between two of our community inspirers, and the similarities between their experiences were profound, despite one story beginning over 50 years ago and the other being very recent. The following performance piece hopes to give an insight into their experiences.
With 4 years, many married. Obviously, when I was beginning the relationship with him, my dad was still on the scene. Right. So it was lovely, pleasant, and finale that when my dad had come off the scene, he took over. And he was basically my dad all over again. He sexually abused me, he stopped me from eating until he got what he wanted, he physically hurt me, he trashed the house, he had control of all the finances. Basically, he paid the bills but didn't pay the bills. He'd go off and stop out nights and come back whenever he pleased. If I had friends over, he'd kick off and he'd start trashing things, and he was just horrible. It was horrendous.
Well, what do you think makes it so difficult?
It's, with all these people, it's that control, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they use that control. Right now, as you say, he's going to the church and things, but when you were together, the control was that he Did he pay the bills for you? Did he control everything? Did he control that way, or did he, you know,
Yeah, control of everything.
of everything?
Yeah, because we were in a relationship,
Yeah,
you have to have your benefits together. You can't
Yeah.
have them where
that's
one
the
is
universal
one.
credit that's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he basically, he made sure that the money was going into his account.
Yeah,
So we have that control, and then instead of paying the bills like he was supposed to, he'd have letters and changed into his name. He'd have the council tax changed from my name to his name, because
right.
I was in the property before him.
And now the council tax and everything gets paid to that one claimant, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It doesn't even get paid to the council or the rent or
No.
whatever.
no, we,
It goes to that one person.
and then they pay it.
Yeah,
It changed the water to his name, didn't pay that.
yeah.
So basically, left me £1,000 of debt because he had control of the money and
Yeah.
wouldn't pay the bills. He'd rather go out sleeping out nights, out drinking. He'd come home. Was it like that for you?
Mm. Well, it was exactly the same, because in those days it was the man that did all the claiming. Because in those days women didn't really have control, you know, they stayed at home and did everything anyway. So he was the one that would go and sign on, and in those days you were paid cash when you signed on, you got your money and you were paid cash. And then,
And then what did you get then? So,
Well, I just got what was left over.
it's exactly the same for me. It was awful. I never saw a penny of it either.
Still got that control of me, even though we're not in a
and you
relationship.
feel that you have to,
Yeah,
are you still not strong enough to turn around and say,
no,
I'll be back to them?
no.
And
I'm still
that's what
scared of
we
him.
need. Yes,
Still scared of him because at the end of the day, you know, he's
Yeah.
stronger than I am, he's stronger minded than I am. And like, I just had to literally go with him, even though we're not in a relationship.
see, this is now you need that. No one tells me to do anything.
Yeah, I just need that bit of strength and courage to.
And you can have it. Believe me, you can have it. Nobody tells them what to do anymore.